Today we are talking things you need to know with our good friends from Hawkins Elder Law in Sullivan. Jeff and Jennifer, it is so good to see you back with us again.
Hi, Julie.
Always a pleasure. I really thought this topic that we were talking about today was so important because it's the holiday season. Families are getting together. Sometimes it's the only time they get together all year. And this is such an important subject. We're talking about long-term care and, more importantly, how you all can help families plan now for things they're going to need down the road. So can I start by asking Jennifer, when we talk about long-term care, what is it, first of all?
Well, long-term care is the kind of care that certain people need if they have trouble with the activities of daily living, like bathing and getting dressed, going to the restroom, eating, those kind of people that need that help, they get long-term care. Now, sometimes they can get that at home, sometimes they can go to an assisted living, but most likely they're going to need nursing home care.
Okay, so when we mentioned those ADLs, you get to a point where you're like, okay, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, they're going to need help with this. So once you determine that they need it, then what are we talking about here? Like, are they going to have to stay there permanently? Is it sometimes they go and they come home? There's a lot of variables, aren't there?
It's not always permanent. Sometimes people just need some rehab after surgery or after something, if they've had a stroke or just need to get back on their feet. But oftentimes it is permanent in the nursing home.
Now, as far as patients who benefit from it, when they get into the long-term care situation, how do they typically pay for that kind of service?
Well, that's a great question because most people assume that their supplemental health insurance is going to pay for it or Medicare is going to pay for it, which is not the case. Medicare might pay for a few days, maybe up to 100 days in certain circumstances, not all circumstances, but most likely it's going to be a private pay situation. Wow. And it's about $80,000 a year to be in the nursing home.
That number, when I saw that, to be in a nursing home in Indiana, $80,000, that just jumps out at you big time. Per person.
So if you have a couple, it's $160,000.
So Jeff, this is where you guys come in though, because someone sees that number on the screen and they think this could happen to my mom or dad or my grandma or grandpa. We're not prepared for this. You all can help families have this discussion and help them prepare, right?
Yes, and it depends on every case. There's no off-the-shelf standard answer. The earlier that people prepare, oftentimes the more successful they can have an outcome. But a lot of our most dramatic planning is after the person's already been admitted to a nursing home, which surprises people because of the way the law works. But we will plan with wills, especially designed wills that have trust built into them, specially designed powers of attorney that specifically authorize long-term care planning. And the earlier we get into that stuff, the better. You can't sign a will or a power of attorney when you're already disabled, or when you're already incapacitated.
Wow. So it's important to do those things now.
Yes, that's right.
Before your elderly family member reaches that point.
Yes.
When they come to talk to you and they go through these conversations, I noticed that you talked about the Medicaid rules.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, Medicaid has rules for eligibility. You first of all have to have resources or wealth below a certain level. Also, if you've given assets away at some point within the past 5 years, you may be disqualified.
Wow. And
so we work within those rules to help people salvage as much of their assets as possible. Again, with advanced planning, the success rate is better. But even at the last minute, we can usually help somebody salvage more than half of the assets.
You know, it's funny because I told you guys before we went on camera, and I say this, and I try not to get emotional about it because it takes me back to losing my grandparents. But I remember those conversations that we had. And I remember thinking how sad I felt to see all of my grandpa's hard-earned money just go. It was just gone to take care of my grandmother when she developed Alzheimer's. These are the conversations people can have now with you guys to prevent that from happening, because families deserve to keep that money that their grandparent or parent have worked so hard to build for them. And without planning, they don't get that opportunity. So that's why you guys are here. If people want to create this conversation, if they want to start this dialogue with you, what's the best way to do that?
Well, they can call us, and we're in Sullivan, Indiana, just south of here, and it's 812-268-8777. You can also go on our website, which is hawkinselderlaw.com. We also have a Twitter at Hawkins Elder Law, and just get a hold of us and we'll be happy to meet with people.
Well, you guys are doing a great service. You know, this is an area of law that I feel like needs more, because we're all going to grow old. we're all going to die. We're all going to need this help. And if you don't plan soon enough, it's too late. So now's the time.
That's right.
Guys, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Julie.
Always a pleasure to see you, and always good to share things you need to know on this topic. So we appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be back.